talk about everything, play music in between. Tune in and enjoy Chad's underground scene. Talking music, you know what I mean. Tune in and enjoy Chad's underground scene.
Welcome to Chad's Underground Scene with my special guest this week, Korky. How you doing, buddy? This special edition, we're going to talk about On the Road with Chad and Korky. We just finished another little tour. We did California, Nevada, and Arizona. So, let's talk a little bit about our tour, and then we can talk about some of the old times and some of the old tours. What were some of the highlights on this tour?
So many, Chad, so many highlights. I always like starting out in Las Vegas, and Double Down's always my favorite place. Punk rock jukebox, smell of piss and
Vinegar.
Okay. Yeah. Highlights.
So we started out the tour, got together, hung out a little bit, and did a little bit of rehearsal, went over a bunch of songs because there was quite a few new songs on our set list. And our first show was Double Down Saloon in Las Vegas. Fun stuff.
Yeah, we played with some 80s bands, right?
Yes.
Kids playing 80s music.
Playing death rock, and yeah. And they were like, our favorite bands are Susie and the Banshees, and it's pretty cool stuff. Super fun.
It's a good crowd, and that's always a pretty rowdy, fun crowd.
And then it was interesting. We had some fans there we didn't know about. We played a Easter song in the set, and then after the set, when we were all done, we're loading out. A guy we knew from back in the day in the 80s said, "Hey, I saw you guys in '87 at Fender's Ballroom." And we both remembered him. We're like, oh my God, what's going on? So you never know. Right.
You just never know. So be on your toes. I guess that was more of a lesson than a story.
Right.
You better watch yourself. Always see yourself.
Okay, I think this is a good time to break away. We're going to show you a video of us playing live on our tour of Nevada, Arizona, and California.
Great Western Tour.
That's right.
The Yeehaw Tour.
Enjoy the video.
I come out after dark. Well, our feet are young, gotta get things done. Well, there's a dark shadow lurking in the deep. And water and don't look back. Shark attack, shark attack. Better get a bigger boat. Well, when a shark is on the loose, I said, fighting back is just no use. The shark has one thing on his mind. He's eating everything that he can find. The shark has really big sharp teeth. I said, look out over me. I said, shark attack, get out of the water and don't look back. Shark attack, shark attack. I said, shark attack, get out of the water and don't look back. Shark attack, shark attack. Get out of the water!
All right, next stop on our tour, Kingman. So we're leaving Las Vegas, headed to Kingman, and we make a little stop on the way. And this was an interesting stop. So we're all hungry, we want to have something to eat, and we see Rosie's Cafe. Super cool looking place, and we pull off. And tell us a little bit about Rosie's.
Rosie's, I liked Rosie's a lot. Out in the middle of the desert, really old time. Had those round theater lights out in front, and the old time writing, and this really good smell. It's like it's the place you want to be when on the road, that we look for kind of the smaller places that have have a little bit more home style food, and it was like and then when we went in, it was like Star Wars, and there was like an octopus that served us, and then what? And then the bartender was another alien creature.
Yeah, and a couple shapeshifters behind the bar. And the craziest thing happened in there. So we were going to Kingman with plenty of time to get there, hours and hours early, and we stopped for this little lunch, dinner time break, and the next thing I look at my phone and I'm like, Korky, it's 5:30 now. When we walked in here, it was like 4 o'clock, 3:30, 4 o'clock. And apparently, right where that cafe is where the time changing line is. So the time changed by an hour while we were in there. And then we go, wow, we better hurry up and get to our show.
And we got caught in a time warp. Those things kind of sent us like to probably that uncomfortable place where you're just thinking, oh, we got to start our set in a half hour. We should probably leave to the club.
And off we went. And we made it with time to spare. We picked up gas, got into the club.
It was great.
And what a great hangout. It was a wine and beer tasting place. Super cool. Nice crowd.
Great sound, big ceiling.
Yeah. And we played all night. We played from 7 till 10.
Free Cokes.
All kinds of different people coming in. Free wine, free beer, free Cokes.
That's another just great looking town. Big streets.
Big wide streets.
A lot of cool Western stuff and neat people having fun. It's very clean and neat. It's tidy. It's tidy, I gotta say that.
And then off we went to our hotel in Tempe, Arizona, because we were playing Rock and Roll Marathon. So we had a nice little ride. Same thing happened that night. It was the weirdest thing. When we left from the gig, it said 2 hours and 47 minutes. And we drove for about 45 minutes. And then I looked at the GPS and it said 3 hours and 17 minutes. And we just all looked at each other and went, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, another time slip, which happens in the Southwest a lot because of all the extraterrestrial activity. The locals have come to expect time slips. I have to, Chad.
And here's another good break spot. So we're going to break away, and you're going to see a video of us playing at the brewery. Enjoy this video. Chad and Korky on the road.
Surfers in hell ride very well. Burn, baby, burn. Burn, baby, burn. Surfers in hell ride very well. Burn, baby, burn. Burn, baby, burn.
let's go back a little bit to Double Down and our friend telling us about a show he saw us at Fender's Ballroom with the band Easter when we played in Easter.
Big E. Is that him?
And we played with Adolescents that night. Pretty cool show, and we remembered the show as well. And we played Fender's how many times? Probably countless, right?
Oh, quite a few times.
With all different bands, and it was always a great show. So let's talk a little bit about Easter and talk about the days back then when we were playing all the different clubs, underground clubs in Hollywood, playing them in Long Beach, Orange County. We'll start with Fender's. Tell us a little bit about Fender's Ballroom, because that's one of my favorite places.
Well, Fender's, Fender's, first of all, it's just a great spot because a lot of kids that come up from Orange County and the kids from South Bay area and the kids from the Valley would even trek to Fender's if the show was good. But it's a good kind of place in between South Bay and Orange County, so you got to see a lot of the cool punk friends, and Fender's a large place that smells like urine, and
which is our favorite, apparently. So I got a good story about Fender's. So one night we were playing Fender's Ballroom, and this has happened to me a couple of times in different bands actually, but this one was a good one. We're playing Fender's Ballroom, and in Fender's Ballroom there was this beam that went right across the stage, and the stage was high in the air, so the beam was not too far from where you were playing. And we're rocking, having a great set, and I decide I'm going to do this great jump, and I jump up in the air and I hit my head on the beam and knocks me out cold. And the next thing, I'm laying on the floor and I can hear our band playing, and I recognize the song, and I'm like, oh shit, and the bass is on top of me, so I jump up and I continue playing, and we finish the song. And then after the show, we're hanging out in the green room, and some friends came in and they're going, hey, we gotta tell you, man, whatever that move you did on that stage where you rolled around on the floor and you laid there for a couple minutes, that was so awesome and so cool. And I was like, yeah, we worked on the rehearsal for months, and we pulled it off. It was awesome.
I remember taking a new guitar player to Fender's one time. I think it was his first show, and we just used to run through those guys. He was a guy from the Musicians Institute, played all the licks. I forget what state he is from, but and I think it was like the Mentors or somebody that we played with.
Yeah, we played with the Mentors, yeah.
And
I'm going through your purse.
the smell of spit that the audience and the punks spit on which I think you and Danny were like just used to getting spit on by the punks and stuff like that. Pretty large audience, pretty large stage. I'm glad I was far back, but that new guitar player.
That was his last show.
I don't even remember. He didn't last long enough. He's like the date you didn't catch your name because they just...
He's like, that wasn't cool.
Yeah, I just remember his hair was too long anyways. It didn't look right when it was covered in loogies, And so it was just as well. But that's a good proving ground right there. Is to just take you'll like this place. We're gonna have a good audience and the sound is good. Don't worry, you'll have a day out. Invite your parents.
And with Easter, we had a lot of fun with Mike Ness playing with our band for several years. Tell us a little bit about Mike. He was a fun guy. We had some good times.
Oh, we're talking about Mike. Yeah, Mike is humble and stuff. I learned a lot of different things from Mike. Mike used to like to set up on one side, remember, and I was like, he's pretty adamant about that, and I think he's right about that. So there's a lot of like good things I learned playing wise about, but not playing like not notes, but just
How to be cool.
yeah. But also, you know, certain, you know, just way we'd set up and the way we'd play, just attack the stage. Mike was pretty. Even though he's humble, he had his ideas about how that should go, and he's right, you know. So, but Mike's really humble, and I could always hang with Sway. Remember Sway?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And Sway would always watch out for Mike.
So this would be a good spot to break away, and you'll be able to watch Easter's first video, and featured Mike Ness with us playing guitar. This is Lights Out by Easter. Enjoy.
Here's Easter on video 1.
I look at my past, it's the front and side. Friends and family, it's so far apart. Familiar voice in my corridor. A frightened child cries for more. Lights and Longdale. Lights at Longdale. Summer's moved in the room next door. It's a couple of miles to the liquor store. Oh, the TV's no use. Already tried it. The radio stops for a bit of quiet. Lights at Longdale. Lights at Longdale. Some people like to lie. Some people try to hide. There's people out there make you a mock. You gotta show them that you're smart. Lights out, lights out, lights out Longdale. Lights out, lights out, lights out Longdale. Lights out, lights out, lights out Longdale. Lights out, lights out, lights out
Easter, a new band from LA and a producer who's worked with Radio Tokyo, Ethan James. After the break, it's over to Australia.
All right, we're back. So Mike Ness exits from the band, and in comes, we're going on tour, we're headed on to a tour, and we need a guitar player right away. And Brent Lyles gives us a call and goes, hey, I'm not doing anything right now. I'm not playing with Agent Orange, and I'm not doing the new stuff with Social Distortion. Hey, can I go on tour with you guys? So in comes Brent into Easter. Tell us a little bit about Brent, because he was super fun.
Yeah, Brent was great. And Mike said he's going to hook us up with Brent, because he had some other things he knew, but he's going to leave us. Mike said there's be only one guy that we can play with, and we did play with Brent for a long time.
Yeah, a long time.
And I learned a lot from Brent, and lived with Brent, played in other projects. Brent had a certain magic for making stuff happen. A lot of people know this about Brent. Is kind of he seemed to fall into it somehow, but he had just a charmed walk, didn't he?
Yeah, oh yeah. And away with people, because he was just...
I just don't know anybody that
such a
like
nice
Brent.
guy.
And gosh, he's great to be on the road with, because he's always just, if something happens or something breaks, he's looking at it positive.
And everything's wonderful, yeah. And he'd give you the shirt off his back if you needed it. He was awesome.
Oh, exactly. Times we've been on the road and I've been cold, Brent's shared a blanket with me. We would just freaking cuddle up in the van till the sun came up or whatever, you know. But actually, that is a true thing about Brent. He did share his blanket with me on the road there. But Ben shared everything with everybody. Yeah, I'd say Brent's the best. I think he's the best.
And let's move on to... You and I have done probably, 10 different little tours together, and little Easter reunion stuff with Easter. So let's talk about a couple of those experiences, because that's super fun.
Tell me about some of those. You talk about them. What do you think? We've done a couple of those. What do you think of them? I have a good time. It's always an adventure. Even though we're older, we still get some freaking weird places.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
How in the hell? They're pretty crazy adventures, and you get to see so much music. There's way more music out there now. There's so many bands, and
yeah, one of my favorite was the tour. We did the Southwestern tour, and we did like 5-6 states, and we also incorporated it with Easter. So it was the greatest transition, because we played Lost 80s in Texas at this big theater, probably held 4,000 people, I think, and it was full. So we were playing for 4,000 people on a Saturday night, and then I was trying to book our tours together and try to fill every date. So I found a place we could play on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and so this Sunday night place was in Norman, Oklahoma. And so we went from playing for 4,000 people, and then the next night we played for 25 people.
yeah, but that was great.
And it was so different, but so great. It was so fun.
What a eclectic crowd. And what was that guy's name that we met there? The Hobbit guy, guy with the...
And then the guy that jumped up on stage with you, and he was like German, and he sang that song. It was awesome.
The guitar virtuoso that played that night. The gleam in his eyes as he stared, mesmerizing us all. Crazy chicks at the band with their telling us about all their tattoos.
But boy, we have some experiences on tour, and sometimes I don't understand how it turns out. It's so weird. And it's amazing all the different places we play when, like a Double Down, where somebody comes up and goes, hey, I remember you guys. I saw you in 87. Or, hey, I remember you guys. I saw you in 84. And it's crazy. And you never know when that's going to happen.
Yeah, very, because we're all connected, just going to the same gig.
So what were some of your favorite clubs in Hollywood, LA? That we did a lot of clubs there, and they were all so wild.
Well, we all know the same clubs.
80s and 90s were
like
a good time.
The same ones, you know, the White Trash, of course, you know, was like so much fun to go to, and you know, Zombie Zoo is probably my favorite though, out of all the Hollywood club. But I like going to the Cat House and some of the other ones, but Zombie Zoo and
yeah, I liked Raji's. That was one of my favorite. Lingerie was probably my favorite.
Club Lingerie is great. Raji's Cafe. I really had a lot of fun and a lot of weird times. The weirdest shit's happened to me at the Cafe de Grand.
So tell us one of the weirdest experiences.
I can't even tell you some of them, like
you
girls
can.
and stuff, like crazy stuff. One thing that happened to me that I don't care for at Cafe, one of my first experiences when I used to play at the Detonators, was I was bringing up my cymbals and stand. There was the band before us, dirty, rotten imbeciles. They're taking our stuff out, and I was bringing my stuff in. I brought everything in, and I put all my pies together and then put my stands on. Just put the pies on top, and like, where are my cymbals, man? They're all gone, and yeah. So, but that looking back on that, actually, you know, I got a new pair of cymbals after that, but yeah, I was one of losing my cymbals at the Cafe. You know what I really liked is I liked going to the Anti Club. It's just a little bit further out.
Oh, Anti was.
But we had, I think, one of my favorite times there. That, I mean, I've had a lot of great times, but
and we were always treated so nicely there. Helen and her daughter.
Ren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So nice.
Saw a lot of great bands, And we'd always have that little peeing contest on the back because they had the low roof. And it was just like the perfect height where you could like arch it up. And you could like, who can pee the furthest? And fucking that Steve-O didn't have like the fucking furthest one night. He pulled that thing out, and I swear, I thought that was a choke dig. He shot the thing up all the way nearly to the other side of the roof. So it's like, all right, that's a good ass peeing right there, like that. You have to have a cannon to shoot like that.
So then we also had something in common. We both played in a band called Love Dog. So hanging out in Hollywood and all those clubs, we ran into some friends that were bartenders and hung out in the scene, and their band also played while Easter was playing. So Korky ended up getting offered to play and help when their drummer couldn't make some gigs. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right on. That was fun, going up to San Francisco with the girls. Killer, I guess she got sick. But I wanted to use Killer's drum set for a video. She had that chrome drum set. I love that kit. She got sick, and just like other things, I was just there and wanted to come up with this. But I mean, we lost a huge van on the way up, but it's so great, those girls. And they brought their girlfriends, so there was like tons. It was like a girl party. And I think it was just the only dudes was Denny and Dusty Bridges came to be the mechanic. mechanic and saved us or whatever. But Denny's playing guitar and Gracie's playing bass and Sharon.
One of the top bass players around. She's so
Gracie's
great.
my favorite. Gracie Chapman. So
Yeah, so then I got offered, same thing kind of happened. Somebody that couldn't make a gig, and they said, "Hey, can you play for this show?" And I played some guitar, and then Grace had to go back east for a little while, so they said, "Hey, can you switch over and play bass with us?" So I played bass, and then I would go, and then when she came back on bass, and I went back to guitar, and we recorded an album together, actually a couple albums.
yeah, you played with her
And
for a
started
while.
recording a third one, yeah. And at that time, I had left Easter and started just playing with Love Dog full time. So here's a good spot. We'll break away and we would watch a Love Dog video. This is called Get It Girls.
Hey there, girls! You wanna have fun? Go rat that hair and get out to a club. Take on values that you just can't describe and be a real punk rocker. Tonight, hey, Chad, is the life outside of bars? No! Sex outside of bars? No way! Life outside of bars? No sex outside in cars. Well, where do you go? What do you do? Are you gonna lie? Might go with you. Well, don't worry about it. Have another drink and dance to the disco beats. Is it life outside of bars? No. Sex outside of bars? No way. Life outside of bars? No sex outside in cars. Get it, girls! Just get out to a club, it really don't matter. 'Cause you look great, but you chitter chatter. About the same old faces and the same old show. Who's fucking you is what we wanna know. Is it life outside of bars? No. Sex outside of cars? No way. Life outside of bars? Lousy sex outside in cars. Is it life? No. Sex? No. Life outside of bars? No sex outside in cars.
All right, hope you enjoyed that. Now, we're still on our tour. We did the rock and roll marathon this morning in Tempe, Arizona. And we're off to our last gig, and then we'll be headed home. So I hope you enjoyed the show. This has been Chad's Underground Scene with my special guest, Korky. And remember, it all starts in the underground. And here's a couple fun things that happen on tour, and a couple more videos of live songs from the tour. All right, Chad and Korky on the road. We're going to give you a little session on how to load the car. So how do we load the car?
Well, you gotta walk the job. You gotta go walk to the club, make sure we got everything. Did we get everything? See, and you ask questions like that. We get everything. And then,
And you got to ask the right questions.
or just go
'Cause-
look for yourself.
Because if they look blankly at you when you say, "Do you have everything?" then you start to list things, right? How about guitar, amp, chord, right?
Well, the trick is to always start out with just a little bit more than your car will carry.
Right. Yes.
You know, whatever's like comfortable, you just need some other more stuff. So it's almost nearly impossible. So you're making it super hard for yourself to pack. And then you want to try to recreate that magic.
Right. So to start the tour, we met at the hotel, and I had a carload full of equipment, and Korky had a carload full of equipment. So we put the equipment together, and it fit pretty well.
Without us in the car.
Right. And then Korky said, wait a minute, I think we probably need my skateboard.
Well,
You
yeah.
never know when you're going to need that.
Like I'm going to be pushing amps with nothing to roll on, like Egyptians.
And then I said, well, you know why? That's why I brought my guitar stand, because I knew somebody was going to need that.
Yeah. And you can't go on any road trip without 5 pounds of corn nuts. And lots of things to pee in. Not that you use them. It's just
Not
nice to,
that you used it.
it's just nice to have them around. I like to collect my urine just to kind of, I don't know, look at it through the sun and stuff. Like, try to maybe get on the internet and see like what the color means or something. But that's not as much fun as looking at other people's urine.
So that's your first session
In 3
on how to load the
miles,
car.
Turn left onto Shinneram
So
Drive,
remember
then
2
turn
things.
left.
Don't forget your skateboard, and don't forget your guitar stand.
And a mason jar.
On the road with Chad and Korky. Okay, on the road with Chad and Korky. Our next session here, we're going to talk about unloading the car. Unloading the car is quite a bit different than loading the car. You don't have to be as precise and as careful. So tell us a little bit about unloading the car.
Well, I think loading and unloading are a lot. If you take it out, I think you should put it back in. That type of thing. And,
But but unloading,
No,
I think
you
it's
just-
a little more haphazard.
Yeah, depending on time. So that wouldn't it be depend on your schedule?
And it's important not to forget anything when unloading. So make sure when you're unloading, if there's like any extra shirts laying in there or any extra anything, make sure you take it and bring it in the club, because who wants to leave that in the car?
Yeah, just take a bunch of stuff out.
Yeah.
And just so somebody doesn't steal it, put it in a lot of different places in the club.
In the club, right, yeah.
So they like nobody can make off with everything.
My favorite is I never forget the Kleenex box. I take that out of the car and I put it there, usually on the pool table.
Yeah, do some wiping.
Right.
Wiping up this.
And make sure
Yes.
wherever the other guy put stuff, you put your other stuff in a different place. Because you don't want anything close to each other in a club. You want it with the least chance of disappearing somewhere.
But it's also good, to sometimes just make sure that. Well, you know how like McDonald's is always near like talk. It's good to put your stuff with the other band stuff. Just like put it right in there.
Right. But that's one thing you never take out. Always leave the wrappers from the fast food in the car. Don't take those out and bring them in the club, because you want those to stay in the car.
No, because they're part of the car.
Right.
And you didn't do that, so why should you touch it?
So I think that covers it all. What are the key things? Take everything and don't forget everything. There you go. Unloading the car on the road with Chad and Korky. Okay, so on the road with Chad and Korky. So this is a very important session. This one is reloading the car. So reloading the car can get a little bit tricky, because inevitably there's something that's going to be missing from the last gig. So that's a dilemma.
It's the X factor. It's called shrinkage.
Right.
It's different. It's with the small s.
And it's unacceptable to end up with that extra room in your car, so you have to find something else to replace that stuff that is missing. So wherever you are, you need to pick something up. So if there's a store nearby, just go in the store and buy something that won't fit in that space.
Maybe a toilet or something. In Vegas, like, look, you got something I got to put in my hole. I got a hole to fill.
There it is. So there we've solved the problem.
Here it is. One of these. That's all you need.
And then when you're reloading, never put things in the same place you did the first time, because they're never going to fit.
Yeah. Who's saying that the last time you did it was right? Just because. And who are they that are always saying those things that no one knows about?
Right.
I don't even know about, so I shouldn't even say that. But no, my point was is that try something new. You want to try the new way. The old, get rid of that. Like, you already did that, so the amp fit there before. What's to say it's going to fit there again? There's not that guarantee.
Well, there you go. I think we covered it all. So just remember, never do it the same. Always do it different. And always overfill the space that you didn't have filled the time before. There you go. On the road to Chad and Korky.
Got no reason and it's all too much. You'll always find me out to lunch with so pretty, oh so pretty bacon. We're so pretty, oh so pretty bacon. Don't ask us to pretend, 'cause I don't know where. Don't pretend, 'cause I don't care. I don't believe illusions, 'cause too much is real. Stop your cheap comments, 'cause we know what you feel. We're so pretty, oh so pretty bacon. We're so pretty, oh so pretty bacon. Oh, we're so pretty, oh so pretty. And now, and we don't care. No point asking if you don't reply. I just remember, I don't decide. I got no reason and it's all too much. You'll always find us out to lunch. We're out to lunch. We're so pretty, oh so pretty. everything. Play music in between. Till